Well, welcome to Cleveland, Ohio, where the local time is 9 a.m. in the year 2010. I just came from Washington, D.C., where the local time is, well, 1984. It is so important that this organization has continued to grow over the last 6 years. I remember when Tim, Steve Cobble, Andy Junowitz, and others who are here today got together in Boston to bring people around the country together in a common purpose. This organization, Progressive Democrats of America, was born out of that 2004 campaign. And was born out of a sense of the possibilities and the potential of America, out of an understanding that the institutions in our society were failing not only the people, but they were failing to describe the great potential of America. And so the Progressive Democrats of America, through 6 years, has demonstrated the urgency of consistent civic activism, the urgency of an informed citizenry, the urgency of a fearless approach towards public involvement, the urgency of extending into the community, involving people in debates. This is a process that helps to protect our democracy. This is a process that will restore our democratic traditions to a higher sense of commitment to the principles that are timeless, that we all agree a country should exist for: freedom and liberty and opportunities for all. But when the mythology recedes and what we have left is a nation where the wealth is accelerating to the top, a nation continually at war, a nation with a national security apparatus that is overwhelming, you understand how far we have to go. But the Progressive Democrats of America are showing that it is possible to search our way through the darkness, that it is possible to bring our politics back from a wilderness of deception and cynicism and disbelief in our own capacity to bring about positive change. This organization has not even begun to tap its potential for bringing about the kind of deep, resonant, transformational change which America is capable of. But it will only happen if there are agents such as yourselves. And I speak to each one of you now not as individuals, because you've traveled from all over this country to come here to Cleveland, Ohio, to speak about what we can do, not just in the near future, but in the long-term future, to restore our nation. Each one of you has a story to tell of a deep commitment to community, of a deep commitment to peace, of a deep commitment to social justice, of a fearlessness, of a willingness to stand up and speak out. Each one of you is to be honored for your involvement. And each one of you can be catalysts, exemplars of the kind of change the country is capable of. There's a person in this room who I have so much admiration for, and I want to, I know that he's been acknowledged, I think, yesterday. But I want to say how meaningful it is to have Daniel Ellsberg here. Because Daniel Ellsberg's fearlessness, his willingness to stand for the truth, proves the adage that you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. Because he helped to free America from the lies and illusions which enshrouded our involvement in Southeast Asia. He put his career and his life on the line. put his family on the line. And we owe him a debt of gratitude, but not simply in paying homage to a unique type of courage which we would like to think that all of those who serve our country have, but because of what it points to as the potential for us to keep forcing the truth, for us to keep demanding that our government reveal to us exactly what it's doing. The Washington Post, in a series about top secret America this past week, had a stunning series of how there's almost 1 million people involved in this national security apparatus today, how the post-9/11 national security state has entrenched itself across the government. We need to begin to recover from this devastating impact of 9/11. We need to always remember those who perished. But we also need to move towards a period of peace and reconciliation in this country, where we reconcile with each other and then we reconcile with the world community. America cannot continue to be a house divided. America cannot continue to try to pursue a doctrine of a Pax Americana, an American imperium, which is doomed to failure. Just yesterday, Congressman Ron Paul and I introduced House Concurrent Resolution 301, which will be voted on Tuesday, and which I'm informing you about at this moment. This is actually the first national forum that I've had a chance to discuss it. The Wall Street Journal had a story on Thursday that indicated that in March or February, 3 U.S. soldiers were killed by an IED in Pakistan. The story in the Journal talked about the United States expanding footprint on the ground in Pakistan. Yet Congress has never debated sending troops to Pakistan. They've never expressly approved of sending troops to Pakistan. The administration has a responsibility under the War Powers Act to inform the Congress anytime that troops are sent in a direction where there could be imminent hostilities, or where they're armed to prepare for the potential for hostilities. That wasn't done. And so 124 trainers, according to the Wall Street Journal story, special forces, are now within the border of Pakistan. And by and large, the American people are not really aware of this. Congressman Paul and I are bringing forth a privileged resolution to the floor of the House, which will probably be voted on Tuesday, which will require the House to vote on the question of withdrawing our troops from Pakistan by the 31st of December of 2010. Just as with PDA's help, we were able to get a substantial vote and force a 3-hour debate over the Afghanistan policy. We are going to, again, call upon you to get the word out over the next few days, to send out emails far and wide asking people to call their member of Congress, to urge them to support House Concurrent Resolution 301. Now, well, I thank you. Now, I want to say that there may be many members of Congress who think that it's okay for us to be in Pakistan. There's somewhat of a charade going on between the Pakistan government and our State Department as to whether or not we even have troops there, and as to whether or not the drone attacks that have occurred since March of 2005 who's really responsible for these. And I want to point out to you that Congress has a constitutional responsibility in this regard. We've seen a series of executives usurp Congress's constitutionally authorized position under Article 1, Section 8. The founders were very clear on putting that war-making power within the hands of the Congress. So what they said, they didn't want to go back to the period of kings where armies could be marshaled and sent abroad without anybody saying anything. And yet what we've seen is a tendency, even under the best of people in the White House, to expand the United States footprint. And Pakistan, which is a nuclear power, of course, has a very unstable government to begin with. And the United States' presence in Pakistan can only further serve to destabilize that government. We, as an organization, have to insist that America take a new direction in the world. So it's not simply enough to say, well, out of Iraq, out of Afghanistan, out of Pakistan. But we need to redefine America's position so we call home our troops from those far-flung frontiers all over the globe. That it's time. That it's time that we started focusing on things here at home, where we really have urgent needs. One footnote, which is a pretty large footnote. There's a story also you'll be hearing more about. The United States, at the invitation of the Costa Rican government, is sending 47 warships and 7,000 Marines to Costa Rica. I don't know how many of you have been to Costa Rica. I've been there. They don't have a military, but they have one now. I want to say that this tendency to continue to use military force to meet the modern challenges of security and basically forego all other options, reach for the military force, very dangerous. It's resulted in a usurpation of our democracy, and it's resulting in a destruction of the aspirations of people here at home. Let me give you an example. 10% unemployment at least. 15 million Americans out of work. Another 12 million Americans can't find full-time work. They're working part-time, or they've given up searching, or there are just no opportunities for them. We have so many children who are improperly nourished or who go to bed hungry. We have millions of people still losing their homes. We have millions of people, even with the health reform law, who will still lack the kind of comprehensive care they need. We have a nation which is falling apart from within. It has resulted in what we've seen is that all of the engines in our society have become involved in this acceleration of wealth upwards. Banking, of course, has taken the wealth of the nation, accelerated it upwards. Our tax code has taken the wealth of the nation, accelerated upward. Military spending takes the wealth of the nation, accelerates it to the top. You can use that measure in every area of endeavor in our society. And what you see is that the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, the middle class is getting destroyed, and we are expected to accept this as normal. Well, let me tell you, the very existence of the Progressive Democrats of America gives hope to a nation which is quite weary, gives hope to a nation that is unfortunately sometimes ready to accept false solutions. Now more than ever, we need the government actively involved in creating jobs, Now more than ever, we need the government actively involved in regulating industries that are still poisoning our water and our land, that are running up profits to the detriment of consumers. Now more than ever, we need government to pursue diplomacy. Now more than ever, we need our government to be there on the side of consumers. Now more than ever, we need our government to put resources into education, into health care. Now more than ever, we need our government to take a role that fulfills the promise of liberty, fulfills the promise of social justice. We cannot cede the wealth and the principles of our nation to people who are actively involved in trying to take the wealth of the country and accelerate it to the top. That's why what you do, that's why what you do is so important. What you do is so important. And I'm grateful to have been involved in establishing this organization. And I pledge to you my continued commitment to work with you to meet the challenges which lie ahead, and they are significant, and to work with you in helping to elect members of Congress who are more responsive to their constituents, and we have some of them in the audience today, to work with you to bring about a transformation of our politics so that the kind of grassroots activism which America is capable of will build the structures at the local level that will enable mass change to be brought about at a national level. We are not even at the threshold of the potential that we have for dramatic transformation of our society. We are capable of evolving way past what America represents at this moment. We are capable of becoming a nation where there is and where there will be jobs for all, health care for all, education for all, retirement security for all, and peace. This is what we're capable of doing, and PDA will help deliver on the potential of America. I thank you. Thanks, Tim Carpenter. Let's stay together. Let's continue to work for peace and social justice. Thank you.